Mainly because, again, look, from my point of view, obviously I'm early into this career or whatever, but from my point of view, they do fuck all.
Yeah.
Like, they take 10% every month. They say they're going to come in every 3 months. They won't.
Hi guys, welcome to this video. We've got Shaun who's going to be taking around his property, giving us a walkthrough, going through some of the numbers. Let's go for it.
So it's going to be a let, like a family let.
Family let, right.
Like a HMO, that's what you're saying, is it?
Yeah, because I, just from speaking with, like I know a few, like I mentioned, Portis Letts and Nathan, I know that this side, is there an Article 4 area, do you know? Do you know if there's any planning restrictions?
I haven't even looked into it. I thought it was you could do a HMO up to a 3-bedroom.
No, so not if it's Article 4, no. So you'll have to do, as soon as you hit the HMO regulations in an Article 4 area, you will have to apply for planning permission. But I'm sure, and I think you should check this out, I'm sure that Wirral doesn't have an Article 4.
So you can do it for as many.
You can just do it. I think it's up to as many as you want, and then you get to like 6 bedrooms and above, and it becomes like sui generis planning permission, where it's like a use class not on its own. And then when you get to 5 bedroom, you have to get a license.
Right.
But 3 bedrooms, it might be a bit of an opportunity to look into it, because you might be able to get an extra bit of rent here. I know it's really good around this area for working pros, and not so much students, because I know the universities are over there, aren't they?
Yeah,
but working pros.
There is some students. My mom and dad actually let out their students in their own home.
Oh right, wow.
Through a company. And they get like something like, what was it, £600 a week or something? What,
so they rent bedrooms out in their own house? To students?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Not that they've always done that, but why not make more money if you can easily? Like, and you can still earn up to $7,500, like
with the rent-to-room scheme? Yeah, that sounds good. We were talking about that on a lesson the other day, yesterday. $7,500 tax-free.
I do it in my house as well.
And it's based on, like, you need like a lodger's agreement. I don't think they're classed as tenants, like a tenancy agreement.
It's because you're a live-in landlord, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. So you can earn, if you live in that property, you can earn up to $7,500 tax-free.
Rent-a-room scheme, check it out. He's right, he's definitely right. By the way, we've just literally met, me and Shaun, today, and that was the first kind of like conversation we've had. So this room, I was expecting it to be a bedroom. And when you said it was going to be for family let, I understand if it's for family let, absolutely keep it as it is. Let's go through. Let's go through, Shaun. Just like under stairs cupboard.
Yeah. Did think about a toilet in there, but it's going to be too. Yeah, but it's going to be too small.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, but there just wouldn't be enough room, like head height, really.
And then you've got to get plumbing and waste out, haven't you?
I mean, that wouldn't have been too bad, because I mean the kitchen's just next door, but it's pretty much finished apart from like the skirting boards need to be put on, paint the wood. Is this your first investment? Sure. No, this is number 4.
Number 4?
Yeah.
Is it you and your dad? Is it just you?
So it did start out, it was me, mom and dad. And then we went in halves on 2 properties. The first one we bought cash, stupidly, maybe not, I don't know, but now it's on a mortgage, and I bought them out of the 2 of them, so now I own the 4.
So you bought it cash originally, and then you refinanced it with the mortgage afterwards?
Yeah. That was when I was buying them out, because we had 2 owned together, and then I bought them out of them 2.
Right.
And now I own the 4, basically.
You've done something similar to what we did in the project, didn't we? We blocked up this door, but we didn't have those. That's why I thought you'd put them in.
Okay. No, they were in.
Letting the light. It's nice light flooding in, though, isn't it? Do you furnish your properties?
No.
Just let
I think it's more hassle.
It's more money. Depends what you're going for. If you're going for a family house like this, you wouldn't need to furnish it, in my opinion. Or if you're selling it, but if you're doing like students and working pros or Airbnb, they'd expect that to me. I mean, students don't really like picking sofas and messing around. It's too much hassle for them.
I know.
This is the bathroom.
So this is the bathroom. The bath is going here, has been taken out. It was all white tiled.
So there was a bath there?
Yeah.
What was this?
This was a wall, and a wall here, and a wall here.
So you're keeping this, so you're going to frame it out?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And then a cubicle in here.
A cubicle in there, I think it's an 800.
What you do, are you keeping as much as you possibly can? For example, the toilet?
Keeping the toilet, ideally.
Keeping the toilet, so it's not in bad condition.
Just
all you need is just cleaning
money.
Of course it does.
The basin as well we're going to keep as well. The bath I wanted to keep, which is in there, but when I was taking off the tiles, I didn't put anything over the bath, so I dented it and all that. So my mistake, I need to get a new one.
What do you do with the tiles or panelling or paint?
I bought tiles to go floor to ceiling, which I wouldn't normally. I know it's more money. Normally I'd just maybe tile to there, or maybe even do the panelling, like on the bare wall. But I thought, you know what, in terms of maintenance, it's going to last a bit longer.
Of course it is, yeah. The maintenance aspect, if you've got all tiles, it's going to be a lot better. If you're trying to save, I usually go like 1.2 meters up.
Right.
Because it's the same width as a plasterboard.
Okay.
And then 1.2, and then I'll just put like a shelf. Like, well, sometimes we box it out because we sometimes like to keep the pipes behind, like you've done obviously with the shower and stuff there. And then obviously just paint the rest with satin finish paint.
Because it's a lot cheaper, isn't it?
I think it is.
This is the next room.
Nice.
So yeah, this needs to be just painted.
So this is bedroom 1?
Yeah, bedroom 1.
Bedroom 1.
This just needs to be painted. The boiler is in here, which is an awkward position.
So it's all gas, central heated.
Yeah.
That's good. And you won't be looking after the bills on this one? Because you'll be giving it to the family.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I do want to venture into that, but it's a bit like, I don't know, another step, isn't it? Where it's like, it's not a
looking
risk.
After the bills.
It's that, and it's also what's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? When you get people to move in, is it going to be more bills in terms of you need to pay the equipment that you're putting in there as well, like the furnishing? Is that gonna? It's just all them things playing in your head, and you won't know until you actually do it. And obviously, watch the videos as well and all that. It's just another leap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like when people make a leap into property first, that's a bit of, or they see it as a risk. I see it as a risk, and then the next one after this is probably HMO or like
you're right.
multiple. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, You'll start usually the kind of like ladder you've explained it. I started with flips because I was like, shit, I don't want any risk. So if I do it up and I sell it,
get rid of it.
Don't have to worry about bad tenants, getting bad damages to the property, etc.
Yeah.
And then I went into buy-to-lets, and then I went into HMOs. That was like the next ladder. So then I started taking on like the bills, understanding the tenant type and the people that are coming in, students, do they get on, do they argue, more,
it's more
inquiries,
work, isn't it?
more work.
Yeah.
And then the next step after that was Airbnb. And then that was like the next level of guest management of, is everything okay? Can I do anything more for you? And obviously that's a very review-based business. So if you obviously have like one bad review, it can knock you. So you've got to make sure that when they walk in, it's perfect. Whereas HMO, you have to look after your tenants.
Yeah.
But you've got
just
a bit
not
more
in
leeway.
contact with them as much.
Not exactly, less contact.
More customer service, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you done HMOs or have you just done buy-to-lets?
I haven't,
right. So I want to push you into them then. I'm going to make you do this one.
Four buy-to-lets. But
have you looked at the numbers though? You could earn some good money.
I know you can.
Just give it to a letting agent and then you don't have to deal with any of the hassle. Do you self-manage currently?
I self-manage them all. Mainly because, again, look, from my point of view, obviously I'm early into this career or whatever, but from my point of view, they do fuck all.
Yeah.
Like they take 10% every month. They say they're going to come in every 3 months. They won't. They don't.
Well, we got to like the level like now where we're able to, I couldn't continually find tenants every year. I'm on students, so mine was like every 12 months. If you're like long-term family, it's kind of like once every 5 years as an example. I was every 12 months, so I had to, as soon as I'd signed up tenants, I was then looking again for next year's tenants. So it was like a full-time job for me to continually find tenants.
But they do that for you.
But they do that for me now. They do all of that. They do all the maintenance, but they're good because they will text me before and say, do you want to go around yourself to save a bit of money or send your own team around? Or do you want us to send our contractor around? And either way, whoever I send, if I send their contractor, I'm only paying a little bit extra than what I would usually pay for paying someone else. Well, I had a sofa that was, I had 5 French students in there and they're brilliant because they pay up front. So they pay the full year in advance. I think it comes part of like their grant from wherever they come from France, but like their international company that does it. And the letting agent had walked in and like the sofa was standing up in one of the bedrooms. So not even, they'd moved it from the living room, they'd stood it up in one of the bedrooms and the legs had all like snapped off. So obviously the letting agent came round and was like, look, we need to sort it out. They're going to completely pay for that sofa. We'll handle it all. And they were arguing. The letting agent was like, look, it's in your contract. We did an inventory report. We knew that it wasn't in this condition. And to be fair, they were really good. The sofa was worth about 500 quid. I ended up buying one for 1,000, but then got the £500 knocked off of that. And they were really good for me. So one of the best business decisions I've ever made was actually going to a letting agent. Right. Because you just get your time back.
Is that because you've got so many now?
Yeah, when I first started, I self-managed because the profit margins weren't big enough
it didn't
for me.
Make sense.
It made a good money for me, but if I was giving an extra 10-15% away, you could see it knock off, right?
Yeah.
But then when you get to that level, it's like, well, actually, get
Less
my time
stress.
back, and now I'm going to go and buy more houses it works out better.
Yeah.
But I know that when you get your next 2 or 3, you'll be thinking about it.
Yeah, no,
You'll be
obviously
thinking
it'll
about it.
creep in, like, yeah.
Do you remember what the old original doors were?
Yeah, I'll
a
put them in the
brown
tip
colour,
now, but they were
or-
brown, but they were literally, you could put your fist
Punch
through it,
through them,
like,
yeah.
I mean, to be honest, Howden's, it looks better, but I mean, in terms of weight-wise, in terms of flimminess, they are better, but...
That's one thing that you might obviously have to consider if you did change it into a HMO. You do have to look
fireproof
at
doors, is
the
it?
fireproof doors, but I mean that can add a little bit to the budget.
You'd probably get it for like 450, 500, like each room in here,
Right.
around this area.
What would you get
So
as a family?
750 I'm hoping for, if not 795.
Right.
750 the minimum.
But you're saying you could potentially get 1,500.
Yeah, I know, it's double, yeah.
Show me this little room. Is this the little this room?
this
No,
the
this one, sorry.
yeah.
Because I want to see.
I mean, you could still do it, but probably you're going to rent this one for what, 200 for the room?
Do you know what square metre this is though?
I don't, but I know you'd fit a single bed in there, but it would probably come out to here.
The only issue is if it has to be above 6.5 square metres in my area.
Oh, does it?
Doesn't
Right,
matter if you could. So like if it's not 6.5.
So it doesn't matter if you can fit a bed in, it
doesn't
has to be
matter.
still. Okay, cool.
You'd have to check, and in that case, you'd only be able to get it as a 2-bed.
Oh, well, downstairs.
Or downstairs, yeah.
Downstairs.
Oh, of
That
course.
room.
Yeah, listen,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Then do you know what? You wouldn't even need to
True.
do the ensuite because you got the bathroom there. You would just make this into an office space for them. Use the bedroom downstairs. You'd use these 2 bedrooms. That's your 3. And then I don't think you'd get this as a bedroom. Being honest, I think when they look at the regs, it's just a little bit too small.
So you need to go through the council, I'm guessing, obviously, for that HMO and all that.
Yeah, literally, just go onto their website, HMO, Wirral, wherever you are, whichever your local council is,
Yeah.
and then it'll say the room requirements for a HMO,
Right.
and then you'll know if you fit
Okay.
it or not. But if not, I mean, there's an option here to utilise this, keep it as a 3, and just make it into a nice study area.
Yeah.
That'll bring attraction in.
Yeah.
So Shaun, give us an insight into how you got started in property, where the funds came from, how old you were.
Yeah. So I was 29. Funds came from my job, personal trainer. Went halves with mom and dad first. They saved up money, so bought the first property, 55. Then went on to the next one. I think it was a year or 2 years later, which was in the pandemic. Maybe because it was the pandemic, got it under price.
Yeah.
So got that for 71.
And you said how much underneath?
Nine grand.
9 grand underneath.
Yeah, which
so
is class.
55 and 71.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of messages on social media saying, where can you buy that? Because I'm from London, can't get a garage for that. Well, come up to the north,
Yeah.
where we invest.
Yeah.
and you'll
Or
find-
Wales, don't come
Or
for us.
Wales. Don't buy all our houses. More for us, the better.
I mean, Burnley's supposed to have
Burnley,
like
yes.
50 grand houses, like
Oh, gosh.
20 grand houses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't come.
Yeah, Doncaster was
Really?
like, yeah, very cheap. Remember that street? We're getting off topic, but that was another one. Yeah, tell us about, well, when did you join the JPU? Give us a bit of any feedback, if it's helped. Or you mentioned the material comparison, anything else
Yeah.
that give you a bit of a maybe a push? Or
So joined there October, and yeah, the comparison sheet, like 100%, like helped me loads.
Yeah.
Mainly with this one, because I didn't have it before then. So when I had it for this, I was like, do you know what? Use it, especially on the skim,
Yeah.
on the plasterboards.
Little tips and tricks like that, right? It helps when it comes to refurb.
It goes a long way, because again, for some of them, I think it was the skim or the plasterboard, 1 to 2, there was literally £8 difference between
There was.
one and the other.
Yeah.
And if you're buying, I don't know how many I bought, over 20 boards, I think, for this house, that's £200 saving already,
Yeah.
which might seem like a lot, but it goes a long way.
Of course it does. So how long do you think now until you're going to finish this property and get it rented out?
40k, and me and Dad were just saying that. So next we've got Tyler coming in doing the bathroom.
Yeah.
Hopefully he takes a week to do that, maybe
Yeah.
under. We're pretty much good to go then. We'll have it all painted. So depending on when my plumber come round, hopefully it's this weekend. If not, it'll be next weekend. But hopefully a week and a half, get it up with one of the estate agents. And then we'll probably do the back and the front maybe while they're in here.
Yeah.
Which I know isn't ideal, but at the same time as well, losing out on money when I could have someone in here.
Yeah, of course.
So I know how to paint professionally, if you want.
Yeah.
I'm Dad's labourer, basically. Dad
Yeah.
tells me what to do. I go to the tip. I help with the
Pick up
painting.
materials.
Yeah, just I think
Hold this for me.
I think managing more than anything else, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like getting the people in. And even though it might sound like a simple job, I know from my own house, I had to get a lot more people in, and it does take a lot out of you, trying to get the people in here, and then they don't come, and then you're getting them in again, and it's trying to work around the timings of when to get people in.
That's the hardest part. in my opinion.
I feel it is, but people don't. I don't think people give that credit.
I've done this recent project. I've taken a step back a lot. Actually, I'm not there every day like I used to be, and I've now become the person where the phone's ringing more often than not, and it's like, I can't get in because the electrician hasn't finished or the joiner hasn't done that stud work that you're telling me. This is the plasterer speaking. It's always plasterers. And then it's me saying like, well, I'm sorry, then you're going to have to move, or, you know, come in a bit later, or can you do a bit of making up work or something to keep yourself busy and just charge me on that rate that you know, if you're doing work on that day, I can obviously pay you for it. If you're not doing anything, I'm not going to pay you.
Yeah.
And obviously it's just managing that every single trade at the right time with that refurb sequence to make sure that everyone's doing as they should be. And that's the hardest part. And then you get the excuse, well, that's his job, he should have done that.
Yeah.
So, well, you're doing it now, and you know you have to work me into your rate for doing that, and it's keeping everyone going.
It's common sense, I feel, a lot of times that people lack, but yeah.
It is. But no, good luck with it, Shaun.
No, cheers, appreciate
Thanks for letting me come down as well.
Look, no worries, appreciate it.